Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make these pumpkin candy buckets. Let's get started. Alright, hello there. So I have made this card with all these fun little gummy worms and candy and some stacked buckets that are overspilling with candy for Halloween. And I have used today the pumpkin candy bucket die set from Trinity Stamps, of course. I'm going to use the pumpkin and the gummy worm and the candies. I'm just not going to use the lollipop today. And then I'll be using the Simply Sentimental Halloween. So in order to get started, we need to make our candy first. So that's where I am here. And I've cut a bunch of candy out of colored paper and pattern paper and some of these yummy pumpkins. And I've done some of the, let me zoom out here in a minute, because I realize here for a second, this pumpkin has a little die that you can cut out the teeny tiny little green stem, but I just used my alcohol marker to fill in the stems because that's a tiny die. And I had a lot of candy. If you just got to have a couple, then yeah, no big deal. So I'm just kind of edging the outside of these pumpkins. Now the tiny details make the whole difference in a card. And then I've got some white ones here that I'm just going to color with this ripe persimmon, because I just wanted a variation on the orange color. And then I'll just use my green pen. So here's my candies all done. But what's not done yet are the gummy worms, and that's what I wanted to show you today. And so here's the little gummy worm, and it's all embossed and stuff, so it's a lot of fun. We are going to do the clear type of gummy worms and not the sour ones. If you want to do the sour ones, you're going to do my glitter trick. But for today, we're going to use some alcohol inks. So I'm going to use the Sunshine, I think it was. I'm going to use Valencia. I'm going to use Poppy Field, and I'm going to use Limeade. And I'm just going to take a strip of acetate here and start adding some color. So I'm starting with the red. I'm just adding lines of color, and then I'm going to come in with the yellow. And then I'll come in with the green. And then finally I'll come in with the orange. And I did study gummy worms before I made this to kind of see what typically they look like, and they're kind of half and half color. So I've got my color spread down there, and I'm just going to use some 91% alcohol in a spray bottle and just wet that down really well, and then start to move it around with the little bellows tool, trying to keep it pretty much in a a straight line as possible. Maybe you're better at it than I am, but I don't care. I have fun. So I just want to kind of get that lined out so that I've got spots where I can do half and half. And you can see there I've got a piece already done. And then I'll briefly show you a piece that you can do with your alcohol markers. But I really felt like it didn't come out as organic looking. I still used it, so you could definitely do it. So I've got everything spread out, and it's hard to see because everything's all piled up underneath there. But I'll set it over here to the side to dry. And obviously clean up my mess. And then I'll be using my chrome precision base plate for intricates on this, simply because this is a very thick acetate that I use. It's actually report covers, and this will allow the gummy worms to cut out fully and make sure that I get all the embossing in there. I'm just going to put a little piece of paper here at the bottom of my plate just to kind of keep it from getting too messy because, well, sometimes alcohol ink isn't fully dry. And I'm going to be setting the alcohol ink side down. Then I'll put my little gummy worm in between the two colors. And then I'll go ahead off camera and cut out a bunch of gummy worms, because you can get quite a few out of here. See, here's the one that I did with alcohol markers, which, it's okay, but I kind of prefer this little organic look. So let's go ahead and get these cut out. Okay, I've got all my candy cut out to the side. You can see I've got a big old pile of gummy worms. And now I'm going to do my buckets. And I did just a little bit of a pattern paper. This is a Bazzil spit it out. Bazzil pattern paper. And when I put my pumpkins, good grief, I can't talk this morning. When I put my pumpkins back together, I'm going to make all their faces different. So that's kind of cool about this set. You could move the face around however you like it. So I've got here a slimline card base. I'm going to go ahead and do the background. Boy, I skipped around. I must have, when I put this video back together, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm going to just make a mask there with a piece of tape so that I can make my grounding, which is just going to be a, kind of a black table. So I'm using a little Hurley Shady for this. And now I'm going to clean up my mess because I always forget to do that. And then I'm going to mask off the other portion. And of course the tape isn't going to want to stick because, well, my ink's wet. So I'm starting out with little clear skies here. And I'm just going to do a little kind of like a circle-y motion. And it turns out later that whole thing gets covered up, so it really didn't matter. But then I'm going to blend around it with my Tropical Tango. I really like Tropical Tango for a blue background. I don't know why. And what I've got there is Remember Me. And then I'll do a little bit of, what's this blue color called? I forgot the name of the blue. I'll list it in the description box because my brain won't remember me what it was. No diving, that's what it is. It's no diving. All right, so I've got my background, and then I'm going to go ahead and use some of my Hero Arts ink here and just kind of blur out that little kind of wannabe moon, which again, you're not going to see it all. It didn't occur to me while I was mixing the background there that I was going to be burying that, so sorry about that, but at least now you know how to do that. So now I can start putting my pumpkins together, and I'm going to first audition where they're going to sit. So this is the little shadow piece that comes in the die set. Very handy, so you don't have to worry about drawing your own shadow. And then I just want to decide how I want to lay my pumpkins, what my candy might look like when it's all spilling out. And since I'm right-handed, I decide I want my candy, and it's going to be mostly spilling out of the top bucket because it'll be the tipmost. I guess that's the word to put. So I'm going to have the opening of the top bucket leaning quite a ways towards the right. And then the middle bucket is going to be popped up a little bit, just so that we have a little bit of dimension and more places to stuff candy. All right, so I've decided where those are going to go. I'm going to set everything aside and put my buckets together. And I'll put one together on camera. And this one, I'm going to make his smile into a frown. He's going to be the middle pumpkin, and he's just not happy about what's happening here. I think he's the middle pumpkin. I can't remember. Now here, you'll see that I'm actually putting this piece on upside down. This is what happens when you get in a hurry and you're not paying attention. I mean, it looks right and everything until you try to get the little border piece around it. And then here's the handle, and it kind of goes in front, and then those little tab things glue on the back. At least in my mind, that's how it works. So we'll go ahead and fumble with this a little bit and get it glued down. I love this, this little polka dot paper. I find it at Joann, and I buy them when they're on sale. They're 12 by 12 papers, and I just cut them down. So I cut them down to some 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panels, and then use the leftovers for die cutting and such. So we'll go ahead. I struggle with this because it's just small, and my hands just don't like to cooperate a whole lot. So I'll use my little tweezers here to push this down. And I know a lot of people use reverse tweezers. I never could get the hang of reverse tweezers, but I have no problem with regular tweezers. But these super pointy ones are fabulous. They are Sizzix. Okay, so at this point, you can't tell that pumpkin's upside down. And even now, you really can't tell. I mean, the top of that pumpkin piece. But it doesn't quite fit over the top, and you won't see it at all. So no big deal. And I'll glue the rest of them together properly. And this is why I debated on whether I was going to use this for my Trinity Stamps video, and decided, since I had kind of, like in the beginning, I lost footage. You know, it was just one of those days. Like I lost the footage of putting together the little candy corns. Good thing they're just very simple to put together. But you can see I've got a tiny little sliver of space there that I'm struggling with. That if you put that filler piece in the right way, you won't struggle with that. So again, I'm doing a little bit of auditioning, and then off camera I'll put those guys together. Okay, so I've got them all put together, and I've zoomed myself out here because I am working with this slimline. And I realize I'm zoomed out a little too far, so you'll have to excuse my gym shorts there. I'll glue the bottom pumpkin down, and he's got a little crooked smile. And I'll go ahead and glue down the piece that represents a shadow. And then he's going to be popped up, so I want to decide how top bucket's going to go. And notice I left an opening at the top there so I could stuff candy in. And so I'm going to glue that tipped quite a ways over and all the way to the edge because I'll have a little bit of a border on my card. Let's just readjust that. This is why we love liquid glue. And then I'll go ahead and use some foam strips to pop this centerpiece up. Then all we have left to do really is stuff our candy in and do our sentiment. I don't know what it is about me, but I love things that are stacked up and falling over. It's like, it's organized chaos that I can live with. All right, let's get going on our candy. And I'm going to start by stuffing in gummy worms. Lots of them. And see, I can stuff them right inside that hole. And I want the majority of my candy on here to be gummy worms. So I'll glue those later, and I'll glue other candies on top of them so that there's not a lot of glue showing. But I want to kind of get them arranged and then start the gluing. So now I'm going to start with gluing some candies on. And that's kind of a silky or a satiny paper. You use all kinds of papers for these. These candies are fabulous. I thought about making little Tootsie Rolls with those, but you know, that's going to be a little extra coloring, and this already had me cutting out a lot of tiny dies. So I want to make sure the worms are escaping as much as possible, because, you know, that's what worms do, right? They escape. Okay, and we'll get some more gummy worms glued down. Pretty much I don't have this sped up or anything. Okay, let's find a little pumpkin. And some of the candy pieces, I've got these tiny little foam squares. I'll pop some of the candy pieces up, just so they look like they're piling on top of each other and falling down. And I want to stuff this card. I want to make sure there's candy everywhere. There we go. I knew eventually I'd zoom back in because, you know. There it is, all done with the candy all glued down. And then I've got the Trick or Treat. And then from the Simply Sentimental Halloween stamp set. Then I've got Happy Halloween, and I've used the cursive Halloween up here with its shadow die. So I've cut it out in white and then glued it down to a black background. And then the Trick or Treat and the Happy are white heat embossed on black paper. So I'll go ahead and pop my Trick or Treat up, and that's going to be the front of the card. There aren't going to be any more embellishments because it is plenty embellished. But it's such a fun card. So I'll go ahead and pop that up somewhere on here. Just making sure. I've got my card taped shut so that you can see it, because they like to pop open on you, you know. And it's okay if I cover part of his face, because the star of the show here is the candy. So just kind of make sure that's on there nice and straight and give it a little press. I had it straight and then I moved it. There we go. I'll just press and hold it for a few seconds. And then we'll do the inside. So there's my little piece of tape that didn't want to stick. And I'll glue these straight down because obviously this is the inside of the card and I don't need things popped up inside there. You could if you wanted to, and that'd be cool too. So I'll put my Halloween, and then I'm going to put my happy kind of askewed. That way if I get anything crooked, nobody will ever know because they'll think it's supposed to be crooked. And then I'll glue down a couple of these extra pieces of candy, and that'll be the card finished. Hey friends, if you like this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd love it if you would hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you'll get a notification every time that I go live or that I put out a new video. I'm going to do one more piece of candy and then call it a day. And then at the end I'll show you a couple of still pictures of the card. So here's our Trick or Treat Halloween slimline card with all of our little candy pieces. And they're all shiny, all the gummy worms. They look like, to me, they look like real gummy worms. So I'll put that little piece of tape inside so I can photograph it. And then, again, we use the pumpkin candy die set, and I'll have everything linked down below. The worm, we used everything but the lollipop. And then the Halloween photopolymer stamp, both from Trinity Stamps. And that's about it, friends. Come on, stick down. Okay, so all the YouTube things, blah, blah, blah. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.